Welcome back to EPR. Today we're shaking things up a bit with a behind-the-scenes takeover. If you've ever listened to us for the past few years, you know we've interviewed countless environmental experts. But today we're flipping the mic. You'll be hearing from us with Casey from marketing and Marley from production leading the conversation.
Very cool.
Nic and Laura, it's great to have you on the show. The mic today.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Marley.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, truly.
Okay, how are you guys doing today? Where are you at? Where are you located?
All right, Laura, you first.
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. I am in New York City, actually. I'm in Manhattan, pretty close to the World Trade Center.
Yeah, also doing well in the DC area, more like Northern Virginia, Southern Maryland type thing than actual DC, but just depends on the day. Today, I'm in Maryland.
Okay, I love that. We're all representing the East Coast for this episode. Okay, starting off strong, we want to know, walk us through a typical episode day. What is your pre-recording ritual? Is it a Diet Coke before? Is it some breathing exercises?
Oh man.
Oh, this is terrible. Yeah. When I come to this co-working space to work on Fridays, which is when we normally record, it's what they call pastries day, which is actually Entenmann donuts and other garbage. So I would say my ritual is telling myself I'm not going to partake in those and then doing it anyway.
Right. Oh, that's too funny. No, for me, it's kind of like, I'm working from home most of the time, and it's kind of a whirlwind of responsibilities and things to do. So it's almost like, you guys know I like to improv stuff. And in a way, I just like to show up. I just like to turn on the mic and let's go.
Yeah. That's exactly what you do. Marley and I are here 15 minutes early, and then you show up.
But most of the time, I have a meeting right until the interview. Like even today, I was like a minute late because I was wrapping up a meeting with my boss. And so Fridays are just full of like, how did the week go kind of meetings. And then I go into an interview, which actually truly, it's a really great way to like kind of reset on a Friday.
Well, to keep in line with keeping you on your toes, we did not give you these questions ahead of time. So what everyone really wants to know is how you decide which guests or topics do you talk about on your podcast?
Yeah, I have to say I was not sure what you guys were going to ask, but this is really fun.
This is great. Yeah. I mean,
we're glad.
Well, you know what it is. It's so much of like podcasting in general is finding people. And so like, that's a lot of work. That's hard. That's not easy. And so sometimes, we want to say that like this is very focused and we're always looking for exactly A, B, C, D. And sometimes that's true. Like we want to have Fred on, for example, or Sunny. There's a specific thing we want to keep following up with. But sometimes it's like, we want environmental, somebody. This is a person who's available. Let's get them on. There is more to it. So maybe I'll shut up.
There is more to it. So this was my task before Marley came on as our executive producer. And I am forever grateful that it's not my task anymore. And
yeah, it's tough.
It's just constant. You have to keep your eye out. And I do keep eye out on people and then forward them to her. But it's basically just looking for people who have some sort of actual environmental background. So we have had some people who have, gone the non-traditional, non-educational route, and that's fine. But we mostly stick to people who have some sort of degree. And who would fall under, this isn't a podcast that's sponsored by NAEP. So it would also people who would generally fall under the typical membership for NAEP as well. So environmental professionals is the larger umbrella. And then, of course, we're looking for people who have some sort of following or example of having spoken online somewhere so we can see how they would be on the show. And also, I think the hardest part is just trying to make it diverse. So, the topics, we try not to repeat too often unless it's on purpose for bringing Fred Wagner back for legal or something, but we're usually trying to say, we haven't talked about that before. Let's have them on.
Yeah.
It is quite the process.
Molly knows.
It's a work in progress for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, pivoting a little bit. So you guys are now seasoned hosts, having you've broken the 200 episode benchmark. So it's been going on for quite a while now. So what do you feel like is one skill that you've really picked up as being professional conversationalists on EPR?
Oh, I have an answer, but Laura, please go first.
I think that's it right there. The art of the stall.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Patience is what I was going to say.
I think it's more like, let me defer that question to someone else while I think about this for a minute.
Yeah. I think I just did it right there. That's perfect. Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny. Like the first episode that we did, the first couple interviews, there's one, I think, with Betty Dahoney, for example. I listened back to it and I'm like, I was terrible. Just for myself, like my expectations, I was terrible. I felt terrible. I was anxious. I was nervous. And I did not slow down. I was like, I was 1,000 miles an hour.
Questions.
Yeah. And my question was like 8 miles long. And it was as if I took like an espresso right before, and yeah. So it's like patience, I think, I don't know, Laura, from you, but like, I think about like what has changed over time, right?
Yeah.
We used to be really rigid about the questions. Like, these are the questions we're going to ask. This is what we're going to hit. And now we have more of an outline than an actual guide. And for me, I think that's been kind of like essential because we both like to have some interplay in an interview because it's more authentic.
Yeah, I think it's a balance because we started with no script and that was awful. And then we had a script that we followed very closely. And now we have learned the skill of impromptu, just kind of taking it where it goes and doing follow-up questions and not having to stick to the script quite so closely. And I think we've gotten really good at using I'm not going to give away our secrets, but our ability to communicate while the interview is happening.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like nonverbal too. I mean, it's just kind of like, oh yeah,
totally. I can see your cues.
Yeah. I can see Laura.
I can tell when you're going to ask a question again.
Yeah. I know because I'm like looking up into space, like trying to find my.
Next, I got a question.
Yeah. So yeah,
me and Marley have a secret code too.
Oh yeah.
You just wait.
Been doing.
You're learning from the best.
Yeah.
Definitely still working on our skills in the interview process, but flipping the switch on the other side, what have you learned from the people, from the guests? Is there something they all have in common in this environmental realm?
So let's not all go at once now. I think that there's so much to learn. Every episode is like, learning so much about a different industry or a different leadership skill or whatever. And I think that, I don't know, I love learning from them, the different ways that they have, especially the ones who work like closely with policy and stuff, the way that they are controlling their mindset around the things that are happening currently with the administration and really seeing to how different people respond or not even respond, but how different people are behave in an interview. Some of them are really, really casual and really great to talk to. And some of them are a little bit harder to pull questions out of. And it's like, I would like to learn from those ones that are just really great at just being themselves. And I think that's the key. The ones who just show up and they're not worried about sounding wrong and they're not worried about how they might be perceived and they're just sharing their knowledge openly. Those are the best ones.
Oh gosh, they really are. And it's like Laura said, you learn something new every time. Every time there's something you can take away from it. The guests themselves, like everybody's a little bit different, right? You can understand, like, I think Laura and I are both good enough to realize like we can navigate whatever shows up, right? I think when we first started, some of that was like, what do we do now? But I don't think that's the case anymore. I think like, we haven't had an interview. Honestly, we really haven't anyway. But like, I'm not afraid of an interview going in a different direction than I expected. I think we had one, like the one just before this one, went in a completely different direction than I was expecting. And I don't know. I think that's kind of the joy of it in a way. And that's like, I think that's why we still like doing it, is because it's very different every time. Everybody's a little bit different, but our expectations are, pretty realistic. So it's pretty fun.
Love it. I think this is sort of a subset question off of that, but maybe a little broader, zooming out. I know there's like a lot of stereotypes about the environmental professional community of being tree huggers or loving to hike, but what would be like your overarching takeaway of the community? I know you kind of touched on that resiliency in times of uncertainty, but just the broad understanding of the community as a whole.
I will say, like one time I was trying to buy a car. They asked me what I did. You have to write it down. I'm an environmental scientist. And they were like, so do you want a Prius? I was like, no. So there's definitely stereotypes. There are stereotypes out there. I think Laura and I have talked a lot about like, there's a stereotype too that, it's like, oh, if you're working in the environmental space, you're not making money. And that's not true. It's not even remotely true. It just depends on what you're doing more than anything else. So the community is huge. and it's very broad. It covers lots of different things, lots of different people with different thoughts, wants, needs, ideas. There's some universal stuff, sure, but even like, Fred's an environmental lawyer that doesn't like going outside. I mean, what more can you say? that right there to me is like the group,
Yeah. I think there is a stereotype. There are common threads. There's a lot of like people who do want to spend time in nature. And even if they aren't going in it, I mean, Fred loves the cherry blossoms. So like there's, he lives of one tree. And so
yeah, for sure.
There's still a common thread in that regard. A lot of gardeners, a lot of hikers and travelers and people who just like to, experience life. Right. Mm-hmm. But then as far as like political spectrums, there are those who are calm and cool about it. And there are those who are like, wow, the world's on fire. So I think that part is vastly different.
Yeah, I would agree. But it's fun. It's like if you're working in the field in particular, you have to be a little resilient because like Mother Nature does not care what your plans are. And in a lot of ways, that's policy's the same. You cannot predict everything that's going to happen. You can't control all of that. So all you can do is roll with it. And I think on a whole, environmental professionals are pretty good at that.
That was a great wrap-up question. Okay, Casey.
Well, I was going to say, zooming back in, has there ever been an interview that completely changed your perspective on an environmental issue?
That's a great question.
It's a great question, which is how we stall to answer the question.
And I feel like, yes, stalling. I feel like, yes. But can I remember which one it was? Oh, that's going to be the challenging part. It'll come to me like 5 minutes after we've stopped recording.
You have 208 to choose from.
I know, right? Well, there's lots of different things that like, I think our interview with Shel Ginteman, if you remember talking about data and like my expectations for that interview was like, oh, we were just going to have a regular old interview. And it was like super fun. Like it was just like, we were joking about her and her kids and how like, yeah, she's always on the phone all the time. And like her kids were like, yeah, I want a job where I just talk to my friends all day. Because that's what they thought that she did. And it was such a fun kind of interview. And that was one where like, it's just like, you're not expecting it to go in these directions. And it was just delightful. We found out that she played rugby in college and she was like, how the heck did you know that? And it was just a funny moment. And for me, it's like, that's kind of more of a surprise sometimes than like, like knowing what's happening in the environmental space right now, understanding that, having a get close to it, doesn't mean you get surprised by it. So it's usually something like that, where it's a little bit outside of what I know on a day-to-day basis, where I'll get surprised by something. And like the work that Shel was doing was also really good and really interesting. And so all of that was pretty new to me. I think when Sunny comes on and she's talking to us, I talked to her the other day about like, I was like, what is AI? And like, how much of this do I need to be like doing? And she's like, all of it. Come on. And we had a really long conversation about that kind of thing. And that would be another one. Matt Seckel and ESG was the first time we talked to him in particular was pretty great. And that was like kind of opened my eyes to a lot of what the work that he does. So there's lots of, golly, there's so many choices, but there's a couple for me.
Yeah. Like Casey said, there's 208 choices. And I'm running through all of them through my head and I'm like, oh, that was great. That was great. But I can't think of an actual one that changed my mind or made me do something, but I know that it's there.
Okay. Well, I know that you've had all these different conversations and have probably been exposed to so many different environmental phenomenons and issues throughout the past few years on EPR, but you've also worked in a lot of different areas within the environmental professional realm. So what would you consider to be one environmental issue that isn't super big on mainstream media, that doesn't get talked about as much?
Man, you guys are hitting us with some hard ones.
Fabulous question.
This is supposed to be a casual show, right?
That was Casey's question.
No, it's throwing her under the bus.
I had help.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like your friend said, AI is.
Yeah, right. An under the radar environmental issue. Well, so when I was in grad school, like I did a lot of work on environmental conservation in medicine. Conservation medicine was like the cute term for it at the time, but it's really the idea that if you take care of the environment, it takes care of people, right? Like a lot of the diseases we get are from, animals, and a lot of the time that when we lose diversity, you kind of increase the humans' exposure to animals. and you limit the pool of animals that are around, you kind of end up getting more disease. You get more people who are sick, more people that die. So in a way, I think for me, like sometimes like connecting small things or things that don't seem related, like biodiversity means healthier people, is a really hard concept for people to grasp. And that's always been something that's not quite on the surface. It's just a little bit below what people would think. And there was this great chart, and I wish I could remember it off the top of my head, but it's basically like showing the amount of ticks is actually related to the amount of acorns that deer eat. And so like, that was my Southern coming out, by the way, deers. But like the amount of acorns that deer eat, and that's directly related to how Lyme disease in people. And it's a strange thing. So it's like if you have more deer in a more concentrated space with less food availability, ticks have to bite something. And if the deer aren't there, or if they're only in one place, guess where they're going to go? And that's the kind of stuff that like, it's weird to think about, but it's like the ticks are going to find people because that's what's available. They will bite what's there. It's kind of a wild thing to think about, I think. And even trying to explain it, it's tough. It's hard. And like, I'm doing it off the top of my head. So I can't wait for someone to tell me how wrong I was. But that's kind of like, that is definitely one of those things that's under the radar. Don't hear a lot about, that is really important.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think too, just in general, especially now as environmental justice and even women in the environmental field, they're still there in areas, but it's not there enough across the board. And I think we can do better in those areas as well.
I agree.
I'm not good at these segues. I'm going to give you the next question.
You've been doing great.
No, we're leaving all these in. Yeah. This is amazing.
Next question, Casey.
Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting out in the environmental field, based on what you've learned through EPR, what would it be?
Listen to EPR.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I tell that to everyone I coach because they're like, most of the time they want to know, what do I look for and where do I look? And so I'm tell them, hey, there's this podcast where you can listen to 100, 200 people from different jobs and hear about what they do and their advice for getting into them.
Yeah. I mean, that's phenomenal. I also say that. And I think to that end, it's almost always follow your curiosities, right? That's really like 9 times out of 10, that's going to take you where you need to be. If you like something and you get to get paid to do it, I mean, that's just easier, It's like I had a conversation with someone like, oh, I need to work in this field because that's where the opportunity is. Do you like that? No, not really. So you're going to purposely work on something you don't enjoy just because it's there, that you're not going to be happy. And then you won't like it. And then you'll want to do something else. Start with something you enjoy, follow the curiosity.
Exactly. I get asked that question a lot too. And that my advice is not to do that because it could change. And where you live, it depends, it could be different. Are you willing to travel to go get that thing? And then you're competing with people who maybe want that and have been working towards it longer than you. So you're just giving yourself a disadvantage. Yeah. So, and I think too that, when we're talking about what have we learned through EPR, most of the advice that we have is networking, following your passions, exploring if you don't know what that is. So when you talk to people who have been there, done that, it's all the same. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. And it's that would apply to any field, really, not just the environmental.
That's very true.
100%. I think too, having a community where you can listen to what they're kind of going through and you realize, wow, these are so many diverse guests and they all have the same struggles. But speaking of
struggles, excellent segue, if I do say so.
We're going to make you guys struggle with another question. We've had consultants and politicians and lawyers. We've had butterfly farmers. We've had so many different guests on. If you could pick, going back through the vault, any of the occupations of the guests that we've had on to be in their position, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Can we just pause the recording for a minute?
No, I mean...
you can't choose them all.
No, yeah. And Laura, you have to choose one this time.
I know, right? So, I'm going to say this because it's at the forefront of my mind, but Tiffany DeWong and her exploration and saving coral reefs. And right now she is literally just landed in the Antarctic to do more exploration. And
that's right. Yeah.
If I could tolerate the cold, if I was as awesome as she is, I think that could be it.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a great way. I mean, it's as awesome. We all do this. It doesn't matter where you are. You're always like, if only I was like that person. There's always somebody to strive to be. And for me, it's probably Fred. Like I think like the way he is just somebody. It's impossible for me not to look up to him anyway. But he's lived a really good, really fun career, and he's navigated it really well. So yeah, we're giving him too much flowers. We need to give Ted some as well. But if I could have Ted's boat, and I think that would be amazing. But no, I think it'd probably be Fred's career. That's the one.
Well, Fred, watch out. Nick's coming for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Fred the one with the Lego collection?
No, that was Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A Lego collection would be cool too.
It would be pretty neat for sure.
Yes, and doing ESG and sustainability for Microsoft would also be a pretty killer job.
I know. I was thinking about that. That would be pretty great.
Well, now that we know who and what you'd want to do, a better question is, if you had an unlimited budget and time, what would our dream episode be like?
Oh, gosh.
Would we also be in the Antarctic?
I mean,
I'd be voting for somewhere less freezing.
I wouldn't. I would be right there in the Antarctic. Let's go to the Antarctic. Let's do it all. If we could do
so the dream episode is still on Zoom, and Nick is in the Antarctic and I am in Norway in the summer.
Yeah. Just wanted to let you guys know it's cold down here. Yeah. If we had an unlimited budget, I mean, I think Laura and I both love to travel. I think that's what we would do. We would just go to different countries, talk about how they do environmental things, and bring that to everybody. And that part would be really fun. If we could make it, somebody sponsor us to travel around the world, I would do it.
Yes. So the dream episodes would be traveling to our guests and meeting them live on site rather than just on Zoom talking.
Yeah. But I mean, like, where would you go first? I mean, like, that's almost impossible to answer.
Well, unfortunately, that was our next question.
Where?
Oh, they're sticking to the script.
Really? Yeah.
We're rigid. This is our first, how we're starting out.
Yeah. This is their first interview. Come on.
Our script journey. Yes.
The process.
Right.
So if you could collaborate with any person or organization in the world, and we can pretend you have the unlimited budget and time.
Right, of course.
Who would it be?
I mean, the easy answer is David Attenborough for me. I mean, that would be so cool because he's still kicking it. He's like 97 or something, but still rolling around. But that's just the first thing that comes to my mind, honestly.
Yeah. I think that
Laura's going to have a cooler answer than me. Trust me.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I would want to be talking to someone who has incredible amount of reach and influence and somebody who's maybe doing work.
So like Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Isn't that like
that's kind of where my brain was going a little bit.
Yeah.
So if anyone has ties to Leonardo DiCaprio, I know that some of our past guests did actually.
Mm-hmm.
And but
I'll email him.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Marley.
Yeah.
I forgot you two were buds.
We're like this.
Yeah.
Well, listen, maybe once you're on the pro soccer team, you'll have a lot more clout and pull. So you'll be getting us some of those famous people on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Any French famous people you want me to reach out to?
I mean, that would be cool. Let's talk to like people who are doing environmental work in other countries, in their governments, and seeing like what's happening.
Well, I remember we talked to a guest who said they recycled their fuel in France, which I did not know that. That was a new fact for me.
Yeah. So there you go. Marley is coming to us live from France at the moment. So
that's why her name is called that way. Is Marley.
Yeah, I know. That's what I told her. That's exactly what I said.
Oui.
Yeah.
Oh, she's learning the language too.
Yeah. She's learned one word. Oh man. So what else you got for us?
Okay, a big one. Where do you see EPR in 5 years?
I feel like we're getting interviewed for real now.
Your 5-year plan, Nick.
5-year plan. I mean, I have an idea, but Laura,
I think it goes more back to the dream conversation we were just talking about.
Yeah.
In 5 years, people should be banging down the door to be on the show.
Right. I agree. And I think there's a certain amount of hustle that goes into this kind of thing. And there's a breaking point where the hustle gets a little bit easier. And it's one of the ways that it's gotten a little bit easier is having this team with us on this journey. And that's been great. So even from where we started to where we are now, the grind isn't quite as grinding. And that's a testament to you guys and helping us out. And that kind of allows us to do the hustle. And I think that's where we are, is we're in like hustle mode. And I think that's going to, in 5 years, you're going to see that be different, that be showing up in the kinds of guests we have even.
Yeah. So I would say more famous isn't the right word, but more influential guests.
Influential is a great word.
And more sponsors.
Yeah. And we're on the cusp of doing some of that. And I guess we haven't really talked a lot about some of what we do on the sponsor side of things, but like, we could have more sponsors in the show, but we're trying to get to a point where we can get the right sponsors on the show. And we're really close to that. And it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's right.
And since we're talking about the team, we can acknowledge that Ninja Sam has joined us.
In the shadows. Yes.
Well, she's catching the latter end of this episode today of our special segment. But before we get to field notes, we have one question. I know you guys do love some animal facts, sticking with the environmental theme.
Right.
So we wanted to ask, if EPR was an animal, what would it be and why?
That's a fabulous question. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
I have to go with badger.
Badger, you have to explain that. You have to explain it.
I just feel like it's it's something that we do every week. It takes so much work. It's like if you're in a bad mood or you have too much going on, you're so busy, like you have to show up with a tenacity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when we get here, we have to be cute.
Yes. And gosh, it's such a great thing that you said, like we check our egos at the door. And I know I'm thinking of one interview in particular where I'm starting off and for whatever reason, I'm just like hot. And Laura's like, can you calm down?
It sounds like you're interrogating this guest.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And it's like, I have all this other stuff going on and I brought it here. And I don't usually do that, but I did on that one. And we have enough space to like actually listen, right? Because if my ego is too big, then I don't hear what she's saying and I just brush it off. But that's not how we work and that's not how we operate. And I don't know. It's funny though. Like my first thing that when you asked Matt, the first animal that popped in my head was cheetah. Because it's like we run as fast as we can for like 1 hour and then we stop and then we do it again next week, and it's like
sprints.
But yeah, sprints. We also look cool while doing it. So yeah,
it's just there's no ego here.
None whatsoever. I didn't say I didn't have any. It's I'm just glad you guys
nothing no one's surprised about.
Yeah, I know, right? But at least I know. I don't know. It's kind of like it's a constant sprint and wait. There's a lot of that. And it comes in small bursts all over the place. Sometimes it's not during our interviews even. It's, finding guests and making sure we're vetting them and all that. So that's how I would describe it.
Laura's badger made me think of beavers because we're building something.
Yeah. We're making dams.
Yes. Okay. New mascot for maybe we just have like a little family.
Yeah.
A badger and a cheetah and a beaver.
And throw a fox in for some reason.
Right.
I don't know. Just, it's the next animal that came to my head. All right. So, yeah.
I think Sam's avatar on our page is like a snow leopard. Not snow leopard.
No, isn't that it?
A seal. Snow seal.
An Arctic seal.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, of course. I can just see the spots. That's all I can see in my head right now.
I'm mixing my land and aquatic spotted animals.
And I just was like there for you. I was like, yeah, let's do this. I agree. Snow leopard.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. What else you got for us?
Yep. Okay. I'll double up here. Okay. So now we're on to field notes. I hope you guys have a story you haven't shared yet on the show.
I haven't shared. Yeah.
You have to do the whole intro, Marley.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. We have a segment called Field Notes. Oh, wait, hashtag Field Notes. Sam. Okay, we have a segment called hashtag Field Notes, the part of the show where we talk to our guests about memorable moments doing the work. Please send your funny, scary, awkward field notes with us so we can read them in a future episode at info@environmentalprofessionalsradio.com. Okay, like I said, we've heard plenty of wild stories in the show, but do you guys have one that you haven't shared with our listeners yet? We'd love to know.
I think I've got one.
Make one up if you want.
I want to say in 5 years, I want people to actually be sending us their stories.
I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know. It's funny because I've had many people reach out to me about it, and like they want us to do it. And I'm like, well, send me a story. And they're like, yeah, to do it. And I'm like, no, you do it.
Right.
So mine, I'll go to another one of my, it's like, it really was fun to like track turtles with a radar antenna. And I mean, like I had this pack on my around my neck, and then like literally like a radar antenna. It's like a line and like, spines out the side of it. So it was literally moving around, listening to beeps and then following the beeps as they get louder to a turtle. Like that was what I was doing. And I was like, I would take a GPS point where the turtle was, and then we compare that to where it was the day before, and so on and so forth. So we're trying to get an idea of where they go, what they're doing, all that, just to kind of see what we're doing. So I've told you guys the story about like knocking myself out when I was by myself, learning a very valuable lesson about why you should be in the field with other people, right? So I know I've told that one, but there's another one where I remember. So basically I was going 2 miles into a forest and then 2 miles back. So it is quite an adventure to get there. And I had one turtle who, no matter which way I went into the forest, would go the other way. He would be on the other side of the swamp. And so I either had to go in 2 miles, back out 2 miles, and then around, or this one genius plan I had was, this time I'll walk across the swamp. What could go wrong? And it's a wetland, and it's mostly muck. And I start walking across this thing, and I'm like almost a quarter of the way over, and I'm absolutely stuck. Not just sort of stuck, but like, oh man, I am in this. And so I'm like, okay, there's no one else here. I hadn't knocked myself out yet, so I didn't know that I needed to have somebody with me. And you'd think that this would be the story that tells me, no, it's not. But I just know, okay, all I've got to do is sit on my butt and work my boots out of the muck, and I can turn around, I'll go back, and I'll undo all this. And so I'm starting to do that, and it's totally fine. And then it had been cloudy all day, and then it got like dark as I'm doing this, like it literally starts to rain, and I'm like, that's not great. And then it starts to lightning, and I've got this metal rod in my hands, and I'm in the middle of a swamp with no trees above me, and I'm like huffing it out, trying not to get hit struck by lightning, which was fine. I ended up being okay. And but a torrential downpour. I was soaked to the bone. I mean, like no part of me was dry. And, it was, I cursed that turtle up and down. I called him Big B after that. It did not stand for beautiful. You guys can figure out what that means. But like, it was a bad day. That was a bad day.
Sounds like a memorable story.
EPR is not a turtle. If it is an animal, it's not a turtle.
Yeah, right.
Definitely not a turtle.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I can't remember which ones I've told before. So I'm trying to figure out did I tell you the story about the seahorse and the kayak?
I don't think so.
So this is I think it's a great story. So we used to do a lot of seagrass monitoring. And then I think this particular time that we were doing artificial reef monitoring in Tampa Bay, and I had actually developed this spatial analysis method of taking GPS points from the kayak where the bubbles come up. So like it's very shallow. So it's not like the bubbles are going to come up miles away from the actual location. So you would be kayaking above the person who's doing the data, and you could follow where they were going. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting out in a kayak, probably, I don't know, half a mile away from the shore. And I'm in this kayak by myself. And I look over, and there's a little mangrove, like a yellow mangrove leaf floating in the water. And then I see it go boop, boop, like it dips down in the water a little bit. And I'm like, what? And then upon further investigation, I find out there is a tiny little baby seahorse holding on for dear life.
Aww.
And it's so far from the shore.
Aww.
So I had, the little water sample bottle. So I took it, we grabbed him. And then when we were done with our transect, we took him to the shore and reintroduced him to the seagrass area. And hopefully he lived the rest of its little life there. But it was such a random, the chances of it floating by me and me being a person who would even notice the leaf moving. Let
alone, know what to do afterwards too.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So it was just such a, right place, right time kind of a moment. And, plus who doesn't just love a seahorse?
Yeah, that's great. And then I'll tease another one. It's stay tuned for more episodes when Nic reveals getting scared by a manatee. And there we go. Yeah.
Well, I have an NT story too, so we can save that.
See, there you go. Perfect. We'll save him. We'll save him.
Because that's all the time we have. We're running out. Anything you'd like to talk about?
Before you let us go.
A little bit surreal.
It really is. Oh, gosh.
How can people get in touch with you?
You can actually, honestly, you can go to our website, environmentalprofessionalsradio.com. You can email us from there. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us. But we also have handles,
Find us on LinkedIn.
Yeah, definitely on LinkedIn, Nico, on Insta. But yeah.
The Environmental Career Coach everywhere. I guess if I have any final last words to add, I would just say I appreciate this team. And I thank you guys for putting these questions together. It was very thoughtful and fun to kind of run through. So it's reminiscent to me of sitcoms from the 80s and 90s when they always got to a point where they had a reboot episode where they would reminisce about episodes from the past.
Yeah. Like, remember that time when? Yeah. Yeah.
200 episode check-in.
They'd be camping and then it would start raining and then they'd have nothing better to do but reminisce. And then they would go back to past episodes.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's fun to look back and enjoy and appreciate the show. Like I say, it's so much different than where we started. And like I said, like the help that we have, all of you helping us out. It's wonderful. It truly is. I can't even put it into words, but like, yeah, it's just a joy to make. It's so much fun. We're still having fun. Laura and I, when we first started, we're like, that was like our first question. We still having fun? And we don't have to ask it anymore. Like, it just doesn't, like, we just are, and every time it's a great thing. I very much look forward to doing it and I can't wait to keep doing it.
Same.
That was beautiful. We appreciate you guys very much.
That was so good. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for doing this. This was really fun.
Thanks for letting us to flip the mic over. It's been a joy.
Back to you guys. You can have it back.
Great.
Yeah, that was
too much.
And then let's wave goodbye to each other. That's another fun one. Every time Nic puts his hand up, everyone.
See ya.
See ya, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.